Okay, I tell you what, let's just take a quick little break, and then we'll bring Bob and we'll do the news.
All right, let's take a break, guys.
Hey, Bob.
Hey man, how you guys doing?
Bob, how are you?
All right. Bob Gatty in the house.
Yeah, how about that?
Welcome back.
What's
Yeah.
going on, Bob?
Hey, we got some hot stuff this time. I got a question for you guys. Cat people or dog people?
I'm a dog person. I hate cats. I
Yeah?
got two dogs. One of them's racist. I don't know if you heard me talk about that in a previous episode. Yes.
And how about you?
Yeah, I have
You're
dogs
right.
too. I'm not really much of a cat person, although we did have a cat at one point.
Yeah, well, okay, that bears out my first story because I did a piece about the battle between dog owners and cat owners, and it turns out that there's a study, a really legit study by the General Social Survey for 2018. It says that 36% of the people that own dogs say they're very happy.
Of course.
People that own cats, only 18% get that warm and fuzzy feeling.
Really?
And and so I was thinking, well, it makes sense because you think about how dogs, how loyal they are and how,
Right.
How they cuddle up to you.
Yeah, they're man's best friend. Yeah.
My wife and I, Jackie, we're on the couch and we're getting friendly, and the damn dog comes over, sticks his nose in between us. He wants some loving too, and it's just great. But a cat, man, all they do is, they scratch you, they whine, they meow all the time, they slink around,
they
get
tear up the couch.
Yeah, they get tangled up on all kind of shit, and then you got that nasty litter box you got to deal with. So anyway, it makes me, and then I got to thinking about the difference between people that own dogs and cats, and it says that survey said that more people that own dogs are happy in their life and are married. And I got, well, people that own cats,
I gotta say, it's definitely a different breed of people.
yeah, it is. And, you think about, the little old ladies, they always have cats, right?
I don't know if they've ever done a survey on it, but I would definitely say that there's more people that own cats are crazy.
Yeah.
You see a lot of like old crazy people have a lot of cats. Like you don't ever see a dog person that has like 50 dogs just like climbing all over the house too. But if everybody grew up with a crazy cat lady on the block. We got a crazy cat lady up here. I remember one that was little, and there's just cats everywhere, Crazy people definitely like cats better than dogs.
I think so too. And so anyway, it makes sense, that study made sense.
Yeah, I got a cat lady up the block, and I used to have cats in my yard all the time until I got the dogs. Now they stay out of here.
We had gotten a cat when we moved to California. So we got this Persian cat. It was white, beautiful. I had the brilliant idea. So I thought, being a dog person, what do I know? I had to go into work later on in the afternoon, and I sold cars, and I wore a suit. So I had the great idea to, what? The girlfriend's out. I'm going to wash the cat. I'm going to bathe the cat. I put the cat, I get the water going in the tub. I get the cat. I bring it over there. She clings onto my neck. Her claws go into my neck, into my jugular.
Right.
And
cats hate water, right?
Oh, dude. I start bleeding, like, not stopping. And, I got to put a white shirt on in about 10 minutes with a tie and stuff. And I had like a paper towel on it to stop it from bleeding, and it was all over my suit. And it was a nightmare, but I learned my lesson. Cats, they clean themselves.
Hey, there's this Indian tribe here in South Carolina. It's called the Wakamas. And, they can't get the federal government to let them bury their own ancestors' bones. And it's kind of gross, but the fact is that there's all these people that their their remains were dug up during excavation and stuff, and they got these bones, and they're on museum shelves in boxes, and the Indian tribe, the chief wants to be able to get them and give them proper, Indian type burial.
Right. Now,
Well,
Bob,
the feds-
is this their land?
Yeah, it's
It
their
is
land.
their land. So they basically.
Yeah. And
Okay.
the feds say no, because you're not an official tribe. We can't give you official recognition. And the reason is, now remember, these people were the first residents, the first inhabitants of South Carolina.
Right.
Back in the 1600s. The feds require that they show unbroken lineage from the first people that were here until now.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Just give them their bones.
Can you?
Took their whole fucking country from them.
I know. So I'm involved with them, trying to help them out.
Oh, nice.
Fucking
Nice.
ridiculous.
And
Yeah, I saw an email that you sent regarding possibly having one of the chiefs on.
Yeah.
That would be great. We would welcome.
Would you like to have him on? I mean, he's a really cool guy. His name is Buster Hatcher, and I've gotten to be good friends with him. I'm actually working on a video project. A friend of mine is an excellent videographer, and we're going to produce a documentary, not only talking about this bones issue, but all of the other reasons why this tribe needs to get federal recognition. There's a lot of discrimination that goes on with these people that's just not right. And so anyhow, that's kind of a little cause.
Maybe I'll have him out to my cabin.
Your cabin, I'm sure he'd like that.
Yeah. To the cabin, am I gonna?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if the chief has any dog,
We should
though.
all
I
go
mean,
to your cabin.
When I was a kid growing up, my house was haunted. My mom is not one of these people who's into ghosts and all that stuff. She never really talks about it at all. But apparently, where I grew up was an Indian burial ground.
Oh, wow.
And they used to bury them at the head of these trees and stuff. And when my dad built the house, obviously he cleared the land, and
Right.
he took some of the trees and he built furniture out of it. So our coffee table was built from a tree from the yard.
Yeah, I remember
And then
that table.
a big table in the corner in between the couches was just a big piece of the log. And I think that's why the spirit might have been there. But my mom used to see an Indian. She tells me this. She used to see an Indian, and she said she could kind of see him and feel him sitting on the stairs and in the house all the time.
Yeah.
We used to call him Jeremiah. From the back when I was a kid, there was the song "Jeremiah Was a Bullfrog," right? So we called him Jeremiah.
Yeah.
My mom's the only one that ever seen him, but she wasn't scared. She actually used to say that she felt like he was looking over us. She felt safer, when he was there.
Yeah.
And she said all of a sudden one day, she goes, it was just really weird. One day I wasn't even thinking about it, and all of a sudden she was like, he's gone. She's like, and I just knew, I had this feeling like he's gone.
Wow.
She goes, and I never saw him again.
So the spirit kind of left, and she knew he was gone.
Yeah, and all of a sudden she knew. And she said one day when she came home, she walked in the front door and she heard the back door shut, and she knew the kids weren't around.
Yeah.
So somebody ran out of the house.
Yeah.
And she goes, and she goes, feeling that I knew Jeremiah was there. She's like, actually made me feel more comfortable.
Safe.
Yeah, it was a weird thing. Now, I was too young at that point because he was gone by the time I was maybe 3 or 4, but I remember hearing the stories all the time.
Really? Yeah.
Well, I'm fascinated by Indian culture, and I just think it's a shame the way Native Americans have been treated.
Yeah, well, this is America. We screw everybody over.
Long Island, where me,
Well, basically that's it.
me and Nick grew up in Long Island, it's heavy Indians. It's
Every town around here.
everything. And Long
I live in Ronkonkoma.
Yeah,
The school is, the school is called Peconic.
Yeah, exactly.
Out east, you got Quag, Patchogue. Almost every town out here on this island is
an
named
Indian
after
reservation.
Indians.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so we have
yeah.
we're very knowledgeable. I mean, pretty much.
Oh.
I mean, somewhat. I mean, I'm not an Indian. Yeah, I mean, there's still an active reservation in a place called Mastic.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, Mastic is the hood.
It's scary though.
And it's the white hood. You know, I don't want to offend anybody, but you know, we all have hoods. You know, it's a mixed hood. It's all races, really.
I almost got killed on a reservation one time.
Oh yeah, it's badass, and they can actually kill you or something. And like the local police, like
Yeah, what happens with some of these reservations out here, Bob? They're small little reservations, and I believe what it is because the cops supposedly can't go in there
Yeah.
and arrest people. What happened was in some of these areas, they were bringing in drug addicts and stuff and letting them deal out of there because they couldn't come in and bust that street.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
So there was a little area of Mastic. Me and Red were down there one time, and we made a wrong turn at night and down the street, and there was just people all over the street. We go down the street. They were like coming up to our car, banging on the window. Remember, there was a motorcycle like laying on its side in the street.
Yeah, people were like,
And
yeah,
we,
the guy was like, yeah.
we almost had to run people over to get out of there.
Yeah, no,
I mean, it was like a scary scene.
It was a scary scene. Yeah, he's.
And then another time, I was way out east. There's another one out in Southampton. The one in Southampton, what they also do on these reservations is they sell cigarettes because they don't pay tax.
Right.
So they have these cigarette shops where you can get, out here in New York, the taxes on cigarettes is insane.
$40 a carton, I believe. Right?
So you can get it like, I don't know, but you can get it like a third of the price on these reservations.
Sure.
So back when I was younger, I was in Southampton. There's a reservation there, and I wanted to go to the cigarette place, but I just passed it. So I made a right into the reservation just to turn around.
Right.
And dude, some guy comes running up to the car, jacked. I mean, he was like jacked up like this, comes running up to the window, sticks his head in my car, and he's like, "What are you doing in here?"
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, I made a wrong. He goes, "I will slit your throat."
Yeah.
Oh,
Dude,
geez.
scared the shit out of me. And I'm like, "Listen, man, I'm sorry." I was just turning around. I just passed it, I was just going to see. He goes, "Back up now." And I just threw it in reverse and backed out of there.
Jeez.
Some of these reservations out here, and it's not the Indians, it's these other people that they rent to and stuff.
Exactly. That's
Scary.
what I was gonna say.
Right.
I think because when you picture the first time I went to the reservation, even with somebody to get cigarettes, because Kelly's grandmother used to go,
Right.
Kelly'd have to drive her, and she'd be taking my kids. I'd be working. I'd be like, "Hey, be careful. That's no joke in there."
Yeah, some of them are bad.
So, but you think you're gonna go in there and see goddamn Indians with the whole thing on? It's nothing like that.
No, it's mostly all black people and the one out in Mastic.
Yeah. So, like Nick said, they basically infested it with because it's like a safe zone.
Right.
They allowed these drug dealers and
Yeah, and probably just in that one little first block or so of the reservation, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
I'm just guessing because I never went any deeper than that. I can't imagine them letting the whole reservation be like that, but that's what they would do. And they'd give them this one street and they would rent it out and make a bunch of money. I don't know if it's like that in other states, but that's what we got here in Long Island.
Yeah, Bob, did you see?
Anyway, what else you got in the news?
Well, did you guys hear about this past week? I think it was late last week. The House of Representatives passed a bill to reauthorize the Violence Against Women Act.
Oh, good.
And passed 263 to 158 with only 33 Republicans voting for it. All the rest voted no. And the reason was that the National Rifle Association told members of Congress, members of the House of Representatives, that their vote would be counted in their ranking.
Right.
Oh,
the ranking's going to go down.
Yeah, the ranking, right, for the NRA rank. So now the thing went over to the Senate, and they're starting all over it because they know that with the Republicans running the Senate, that they'll never pass it.
Yeah, it's not going to go through.
And you know what the reason was? There's one provision in that thing that the NRA is pissed off about, and that is that it extends protection, currently exists for husbands and for wives in case their husbands beat them up. They can't get guns, okay?
Right.
They want to extend that to domestic partners, to boyfriends.
Right. So.
Oh, that's it?
Okay.
That's
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
I'm worried that's going to cost them maybe, they might sell 10,000 less guns this year. So
Whatever.
Yeah,
Right,
it's all about money.
It's all about.
But it's all about money. Nobody really seems to care about the safety of of
No.
women when it comes to that.
No, well,
And
this is
that-
why we got to get money out of politics.
Yeah,
Because
and
it's the
that-
money in politics that ruins everything. You know,
Yeah.
these Republicans that vote for this, they're not probably bad people. They don't really feel this way. There's guys that get in politics, and in their heart they may have one thing, but it takes so much money to get elected that they'll go and they'll do something like that to save their career. You know, it doesn't mean they really believe that. They would have
Yeah.
they would have voted for that.
No,
Yeah.
it becomes
Yeah.
politics.
But
Yeah.
they can't. That's
Yeah,
why the
that's
party
right.
system and the money in politics sucks.
Well, the money in politics is horrible. I mean, these guys take all this money from political action committees and the big corporations.
Yep.
You know, it's like this guy Beto, the young guy that's running out of Texas.
Yeah, Beto
president.
O'Rourke.
Yeah, and I like everything that guy says, but there's one problem with him, and I don't know if it's true, and I haven't written about it because I haven't verified it. But it's been all over social media that he's taken a lot of money from the oil.
Oh, okay.
And
Yeah.
if that's the case, that's a bad thing. As far
Yeah.
as,
Yeah.
as far as
Well,
I'm
that's the biggest reason why I like Bernie is he wouldn't take any of that big PAC money. You know, he was one of his biggest policy things was publicly funded elections, and he was
Yeah.
doing it all by small donations, so he wasn't owned. Really, I don't have to agree with everything somebody says, but as long as they're not owned by the oil company or something like that, then
Right.
I'm all for it. And he wanted to get rid of Citizens United. He wanted to go with publicly funded elections, and just doing that can cure more than any one person can cure for a long time. So I won't vote for anybody that had taken too much PAC money and that isn't for changing our election system.
Well, we got to get rid of Citizens United. That's for sure. That was the worst thing.
Yeah, and Bernie said, he goes, I will not put anybody on the court unless they say I will overturn Citizens United.
Yeah.
And if Bernie won, Citizens United probably would have been overturned already.
Well, that's a
Judge is doing. He's gaining some good ground. You know.
Was that
who's
Bernie?
getting some good guy.
No, I was saying Pete Buttigieg.
Mayor Pete, I really like that guy.
Yeah, he's gained a lot of steam, and I mean that would be really remarkable. The guy's brilliant.
Yep.
I mean, if you've heard him speak,
and he fought in war.
yeah,
You know, so
he's brilliant.
yeah.
You know what's interesting about him is, they always say that people vote for the opposite of what's in office right now. And when I look at Mayor Pete, I'm like, there is nothing more opposite than Trump
Yeah,
than Mayor Pete.
yeah.
He doesn't, Trump acts like this big tough guy, but he isn't. Mayor Pete does not act like a tough guy. He's very calm, very moderate spoken, educated. But meanwhile, he's a badass military guy.
Yeah, well, he's in the
So
Marines.
He really is. I don't know if
think
it was Marines, but he definitely fought in Afghanistan.
Yeah, I think he was. No, was it the Navy? I don't know. I got to look that up. But
Yeah, I
Yeah,
can't
matter
remember.
of fact, while he was mayor, he went back.
yes, he went back while he was mayor. Yeah.
While he was mayor.
Yeah.
And then, you know how Trump doesn't read anything? We were talking about how Trump only, basically just only works on memes,
Right.
words in a picture.
Yeah,
This guy, Mayor Pete, I'll probably get the language wrong because, my brain sucks. But I think it was like Norwegian or something. He taught himself a language
Yes.
just because he wanted to read a certain set of novels.
Yes.
So he
taught-
learned an
Are
entire
you
language.
kidding? Are you kidding me? I didn't hear
taught
that.
himself
This
to-
guy's
I know he speaks a lot of different languages.
Yeah, he learned a language just because he wanted to read a specific set of
It
novels.
was Norwegian, Nick. He did. He learned Norwegian.
Yeah, and I would love to see Pence removed by a gay man.
Yeah.
Oh, wouldn't that be something?
Oh yeah,
Oh yeah, that would be something.
so that's why I'm really feeling the Mayor Pete. I've always been a Bernie fan. I don't know if his time is past. I think no matter what he did and swaying everybody else, I think he's already kind of accomplished his goal. If
He probably
he wins
has,
the nomination, I'll vote for him. But I would vote for Mayor Pete. There's a couple of Democrats that I would vote for right now.
Yeah.
My feeling is we need.
Yeah, it's time for some young blood.
And
man.
it's funny because you remember last show, guys. I don't know if you remember, but I think it was like 16 candidates. And what did I say? There's going to be like 6 more coming in real soon.
Yeah.
And I think one of you guys were like, no, or whatever. I don't know. Maybe you agreed with me. Maybe you didn't. But I don't know. I see by the time this thing, I mean, it's only.
I don't think you're going to get much more now. It's already at what, 16 is it at?
No, it's
18?
20.
Yeah,
Is it 20?
it's up
Yeah,
to
I think
20.
that's it. I don't think you're
I'm
gonna see
seeing
much more.
like 30.
Unless Biden comes in.
I
mean, he'll be the last one.
Yeah. Well, I think he's going to come in either way, but I think you're right. I think he jumped the shark because
Yeah, and you know what? Right now, and in the last 4 or 5 years, it's anti-establishment move and a mood in the country. So someone like Biden, I got nothing against Biden, but I just don't think he's right for the moment right now. I really don't.
Yeah, I think his time has passed.
Yeah.
You know, he should have run last time, but I think his time has passed. And
He probably would have beat Trump
know,
if he ran last time.
yeah, yeah.
he would have.
But you know, I'm with you. I really like Mayor Pete. I mean, I think the guy's really sharp.
Yep.
And,
It's early, but let's see
it
if
surprised me.
the momentum going.
Yeah,
he
definitely
really surprised
me.
Yeah. You know, there's another thing that's really important that I didn't even know about until the other day. I found out about it, and that is that there's this drive by a bunch of states pushed by right wingers and business to have a constitutional convention to change the whole frickin' U.S. Constitution. And the reason, and they're close to being able to do it. There's something called Article 5 in the Constitution, which, without getting into the weeds, it just basically says that if enough states agree that there has to be this constitutional convention, and that when that convention's held, everything's on the table and they can do anything they want.
I can't imagine us doing anything like that. We can't even pass the simplest little thing.
Yeah, we
Well,
can't.
you
even
know what?
Divided.
You know what? I didn't think so either. But 28 states have already done it.
Yikes.
Oh my God.
And they only need 6 more.
Oh,
Oh
yikes.
Jesus.
And they're working on states like South Carolina, which is run by Republicans
Yeah.
and big business, essentially, to be the next one. And so now it's starting to get serious. And you know who's in charge of this sucker?
No.
This guy, Governor Scott Walker from Wisconsin, the guy that tried to get rid of Medicare and Medicaid and every damn thing else.
Yeah.
So
He's a scumbag.
yeah, it's a scary.
I can't imagine them ever actually pulling anything off and agreeing on anything. It'll be a disaster. It'll be worse than fucking Brexit.
Well, the thing is that I wrote in a blog about it that if that ever should happen while Trump was president, let's say the guy got reelected, and this happened over the next
Oh my God, he'd get rid of term
4 years. He'd be. I wrote. Let me see if I can find it. It would be like he'd be like a
president for life.
He would be like a pig. He would be like a giant hog at a pig slop buffet.
Right.
Because all the things they could do, you know.
Yeah.
He hates the media. They changed the freedom of the press and all that stuff.
Forget it. It would be a
I mean,
revolution.
where we definitely. This is why we need to get this guy out of office. I mean,
Gotta vote him out. That's all.
Yeah.
The only way.
I said earlier I didn't have anything to say about Trump today, but that's wrong because that.
yeah. Well, you know what? Sometimes it's hard to not.
It's impossible. I mean, he's he takes over everything, you know.
But you know, one of the problems is I think today that you know we got these crazy lefties and we got these crazy righties, you know, and the rest of us are kind of stuck in the middle.
Yep.
And you know, I mean, one of my buddies wrote a blog about that. And got the Freedom Caucus right-wing nutcases who you know they want to do away with everything that helps the average person because they say it busts the budget, which they busted with their tax cut for the rich. And then you've got the social democrats on the left that want to do, you know, a bunch of things that would cost a whole ton of money, which are probably good, you know, like national health insurance, improving health insurance and Medicare for all and all of that kind of stuff.
They don't want to help the poor, but we'll give $20 billion in subsidies to the oil industry.
Yeah, exactly right. Exactly right. And, you know, and they say, well, we can't afford this. The federal budget is out of control. It's $22 trillion in debt or whatever in the hell it is.
Bob, you ever hear the two Santa Claus theory?
What is that?
Never heard of the two Santa Claus theory, huh?
You tell me about it.
I'm surprised. Written back in like the 70s. Two Santa Claus theories. And if you look back, this has been going on for about 40 years or so. The Republicans, whenever they are in power, okay, they bring the budget way, way, way up, okay? And they overspend and they overspend and they overspend.
Right.
But then whenever the Democrats are in power,
right,
they say that we have to make cuts, we have to make cuts because we're spending too much.
Right.
They call it the two Santa Claus theory. I'll have to look it up and do a better job of explaining it. And if you look through history, people always say, oh, the Democrats, you know, are going to bring up the deficit too much. No, it's always higher under Republicans.
Oh, yes.
And then Right now they don't talk about really cutting Medicare and stuff much. They keep it hush hush. There was a little talk about it. As soon as the Democrats are in power, just like when Obama was in, they're going to start screaming about the deficit again.
Yeah, exactly.
And then when they come into power, they ring up the deficit. They know they're only going to be there for 4 or 8 years. It always goes back and forth, and they rack it up as much as they can. And it's called the two Santa Claus.
Well, I hadn't heard that term, but that definitely is the trend, and it's a trend I've been aware of. I mean, I worked on Capitol Hill for 7 years as chief of staff to two different congressmen. One was a Republican and one was a Democrat. And I'll tell you what, I learned the difference right then between the two.
Right.
And I had to actually debate for the Republican I worked for. I had to debate his Democratic opponent in his place before a whole bunch of senior citizens.
Right.
And the issue of the day was, would there be an increase in benefits for Social Security? And the Republicans opposed it because they said it would jack up the deficit.
Right.
And Democrats, of course, were for it. And I had to argue the Republican position before all these senior citizens. And I thought I was going to get killed.
Right.
They don't care about the deficit.
They don't care about
Bob,
it.
I reckon it right now.
I mean, look what they did to it right now.